Hello and welcome to your 30-minute full body strength session. Okay, we're going to start off standing up. I want you to interlace the hands, okay, clasp them together and start rolling through the wrists. Now for this 30-minute session, we're going to be using the mat. We're going to be going down to the floor and coming up. So a mixture of mat work and standing. And if you want to have something close by to help you with some balance, then that's okay as well. Either a chair or the couch. I'm going to be using the wall behind me if I need to. Okay, we're rolling through those wrists just to get them nicely warmed up, playing around with the direction as much as possible for 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to drop those hands. I'm going to bring the feet a little bit wider than my hips, so about as wide as my mat. My knees are nice and soft, and I'm just gently rocking forwards and backwards. I'm going to bring those arms up, interlace them behind my head, stop the rock, plant the heels down into the floor, send the bum back into a good morning, and coming back up. So what we're doing here is sticking the tailbone back, keeping the spine as straight as possible, and then returning. So we really are opening up behind the thighs, into the lower back, possibly behind the knees as well, depending on where you feel stiff and tight. Let's go for 3 more. 3, 2, last one, 1, and coming up. Dropping those arms down, bringing the feet a little bit more underneath you, moving towards the back of your mat or your space. I'm going to have hands onto the thighs. I'm going to inhale. I'm going to exhale. I'm going to roll down, taking my hands down the front of my legs and just exploring this ragdoll position and coming up. We're going to do that one more time, staying down this time. Inhale. Exhale, chin tucks, and we roll those hands down the front of the legs. And I'm going to come into a kneeling position. So I've come down onto all fours. And when I'm here, I'm going to arrange myself so that my knees are underneath my hips and my hands are underneath my chest. Okay, from there, we're going to find our very first hover position. So I'm going to tuck the toes. Bend the elbows slightly. Now, when you bend the elbows slightly, you're going to feel a lot more activation into the upper arm. When you're ready, you're going to press the floor away so that the knees are just an inch off the floor, and we're in our hover. We're going to be here just for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lowering the knees, sitting the bum back down onto the heels into a shell stretch for 3, 2, 1. We come forward, tuck those toes, bend those elbows, lift the knees. Holding that hover. This hover is a great warm-up movement. Okay, we get a nice heat through the body in this position. For another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Knees come down, bum onto heels, enjoying the shell stretch. We've got one more hover to get through. Coming forward, tucking those toes. When you're ready, pressing the floor away and holding. So whilst you're here, I want you to think about your spine. It should be nice and straight, okay? No funny curves. Small bend in those elbows. Can you draw the inner thighs towards each other just a little bit more? For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lowering the knees, sitting the bum back onto the heels and taking a breath. Very good. From there, we're going to transition into a seated position, coming down onto your bum with your feet flat out in front of you. Okay, we're going to start to move through a bit of a roll down. So we'll start with half roll downs. So we're going to have the hands underneath the thighs in the crease of the knee, sitting up as tall as possible for you at this point. I'm going to inhale. As I exhale, it's like someone's punched me in the belly button, and I'm curving away from my thighs, just till about there. I've still got my arms holding on, and then I'm coming back up. Okay, so what's really important with this is that I'm curving my spine and I'm not hinging back. So that's why we keep the hands here for the first couple reps. so that you really get that scoop in the lower abdominals, and you fold the spine backwards and up. We're gonna go for one more like that. Belly button pushes into the spine. I'm rounding the lower back as much as possible and back up. Fantastic. All you're going to do now is release the arms in front of you. If you feel like you still need the hand support, that's absolutely fine. If not, arms are lengthened in front of you. Big inhale here. Exhale, tucking the tailbone, pulling the belly button in and rolling down just halfway. Pause for a second and bring yourself back up. Okay, we go again. We're rolling down, we're scooping the lower abdominals as much as possible. We're keeping energy through those fingertips. Fingertips are heading straight over my knees, and I'm coming back up. We've got two more like that. Rolling off the sit bones, taking it back, scooping the lower abdominals. The chest should be completely relaxed, and coming back up. In this next one, we're going to take it all the way down to the floor. Okay, so I'm rolling down, same sequence, nice and slow. Arms are forward, and I'm gently touching down on the mat. You can allow the arms to come overhead and just bring your feet a little bit closer to you. We're going to take it into bridges. So if you feel like you need the support, please do bring your hands back down to your sides. Otherwise, keep them stretched above the head. Just helps us with a bit of length in the anterior chain. So the feet are pressing down into the mat. Okay, they're underneath your hips. When you're ready, you push the feet down into the floor, so much so that the hips lift up into that bridge. Pause at the top of the bridge and then lower back down. Now, if you feel the need to articulate as much as possible through the spine, please go ahead. If you prefer to just push into the feet and allow those hips to float up, that is also okay. All I'm concerned about, what I want you to be focusing on, is the pressure in the soles of your feet. You are pushing your feet into the floor and allowing the hips to float. Okay, that is our main goal. And coming down. We've got about 3 more to go. Here we go. Pressure into the soles of the feet. Lifting the hips. And down. 2 more. Pressures into the soles of the feet. Lifting the hips. And down. Last time. We're going to keep the hips up for a little bit longer. So pressure into the feet. Lift the hips. Okay. From here, I am driving the feet down. I am pressing my hips up. I'm going to think about pulling my thighs towards each other just a little bit. We're going to go for small pulses up to the ceiling here. Just imagine that these pulses are just you increasing that activation that you're hopefully feeling in the backs of the legs for another 4, 3, 2, 1, and relaxing it down. Relax completely when you get to the bottom, and let's hug one knee at a time into the chest. Gently rock from side to side, just allowing that lower back a quick massage on the floor for 3, 2, and 1. Fab. We're going to put those feet down for a second. We're going to bring the hands up and over, interlace them behind the head, so your head is nice and heavy into your fingertips and your elbows are wide. I'm going to bring one leg at a time and find our tabletop position. And once you're here, I want you to relax at the knees so that you're in a lazy tabletop position. And then you're just going to lightly start to tap one foot down to the floor at a time. Now, because we are in a lazy position, i.e. the knees are soft, you are hopefully not feeling too much quad activation, too much work in the thighs. You're sinking the belly button down into the spine towards the floor, and you're trying to keep everything as still as possible. It's just the legs that are running past each other. We're going to speed it up. You're going to only go as fast as you can without letting everything else shake around. Okay? We've got 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. Now, When you rest, you can rest with the thighs in towards you, or you can put the feet down and just have a breather. When you're ready though, we're going to set it back up to tabletop position. Hands come back behind the head. This time, not a lazy tabletop, a poised tabletop. So that's where I'm keeping my feet a little bit more lifted. We're going to take this into small curl-ups. So from here, I'm going to drop my chin and my eye line to between my thighs, lifting my shoulders off the floor and lowering back down. The nice exhale is going to help you with this movement on the way up and lower it down. Ooh, nice shake in my voice. Let's go for 2 more. Coming up and down, and last one coming up and down. From there, relaxing everything for a second, dropping the feet. Let's widen them. Let's let the knees fall side to side, just giving everything a much welcomed rotational release. Good. One more time each side. And coming back to the center. We've got one more to do for those abdominals in this sequence. So we're coming up back into that tabletop position. Hands are behind the head. We repeat our small curl up. So when you're ready, lift those shoulders up. Reach your arms up and over and grab behind your thighs. You're not going to use your arms to really lift yourself up a little bit more. Okay, so I'm pulling through my arms. I've gained like 1/2 centimeter of more height. I'm now going to maintain that height as my arms come up over to my head and I come back down. We go again, curling up. Arms find the back of my thighs. I'm going to increase the curvature of my spine by using the strength through my arms and resistance through my legs. Pause for a second. Arms come up and over. They hip behind the head and they lower. Woo! Okay, 2 more like that. Curling up. Grabbing those thighs. Pushing your feet away from you a little bit so that your arms can pull you up. 3, 2, 1. Arms come up behind the head and down. Last time, here we go. Coming up. Hands behind the thighs. Pulling up a little bit more. Breathe it here for 3, for 2. Let's take those arms up on 1 behind the head and relax. Dropping those feet down and just breathe. Fantastic. So hopefully you felt a really nice concentration of work in the abdominals there. And the spine was also getting a lovely stretch. So you definitely feel a little bit more open through the vertebrae after that. Okay, we're going to take hold of the legs, push them down to the floor just to get you up, and then swing your legs through so that you are back in that kneeling position. Okay, now from here, we are going to stand up and kneel back down. Now, as we do this, you want to ensure that whatever you're working on today is nice and comfortable, okay? This is a good time to either double up your mat or grab a blanket off the sofa, put it down so that the knees feel nice and comfortable. However, to protect your knees in another way is to ensure that you are completely controlled in this movement. So you might also want to grab some balance. Okay, we're going to come into a high kneeling position and we're simply going to step 1 foot forward. We're then going to stand up. We're going to take the same foot, kneel it back down, and come back into high kneeling position. So as I said, if you need to get something for a bit of support, no problem at all. Otherwise, you're just staying with me. Okay, so as that leg comes forward, you're going to feel a little bit of balance change in the body. That's fine. You're then going to have to press down on it to come up. We're then controlling with the front leg to come back. Okay, let's try and keep that going in a bit of a sequence. We want to do 5 on each leg. So this is already rep 4. Move at your own pace. If you need to move a little bit slower, that's absolutely fine. That's my rep 5. I'm coming down. I'm going to pause for a second and I'm going to lead with the opposite foot. Stepping forward, coming up, stepping down, coming down. Good. So the idea with this is that the front leg is always the one that's actually doing the most work. However, you're likely to be using the back leg as well quite a bit, which is okay. This is my number 5. Try and get to 5 and relax. Fantastic. We will be revisiting those, so don't worry if it was a bit of a panic. For now, let's find a full plank position. So hands are coming down to the floor. I'm stepping the feet out behind me and I'm finding my full plank position or the top of my press up position. For now, I just want to hold this here. I just want to establish how I feel. Energize the body, energize the legs. Feel my weight distributed between my arms and my legs. For 3, 2, 1. I'm going to bring those knees down and breathe. We're now going to take it into a push down. So a push down is the first bit of your press up training. If you are doing full press ups already, go ahead, do them nice and slow, enjoy them. But for the rest of us, we're going to lower our bodies down to the floor and use our knees to come back up. So getting a nice wide stance with the hands and the feet. Okay, what I'm going to do is focus on the shape of my spine. Maintain that shape as I start to bend the elbows and I drop to the floor, all the way down to the floor. I'm now going to press my knees and thighs into the floor, push away with my hands, so now I'm in a half position, and pop the legs back into straight. Let's try that again. I'm bending the elbows, controlling to the floor, pushing the knees into the floor, push the floor away, and up. 2 more reps, you've got this. Slowly down. Knees, half lift, full lift. Last one, slowly down. Knees, half lift, full lift. Bring those knees to the floor and rest. Now, if you felt like you weren't controlling all the way down, don't worry about it. Going down with control is only going to improve, and that's going to help us get the push-up a lot easier. Okay, again, we'll come back to those in a moment. For now, let's tuck the toes behind us, walk the hands back to the feet, and roll up into a standing position. Okay, we're going to find a nice wide squat. So I want you to set your feet up at least as wide as your mat, if not a little bit wider. What we're going to do is clasp our hands and send them in a diagonal down. So think kind of in front of my navel, but my arms are straight in front of me, okay? From here, what I'm going to do is sit my bum back and down, and it's like I'm going to grab something in front of me and pull it back up. That's the feeling we have through our arms. They're nice and activated, pushing forward and up. And this is just going to help us with the shape of our spine and the mechanics of the movement. Okay, don't worry about looking a bit silly with the arms. It's absolutely fine. It's going to help us out with keeping the spine nice and straight. Lots of energy through the entire body, and the heels should be pressing into the floor the whole way through. Let's go for 2 more like that. And last one. And up and relax. Fantastic. Okay, from there, I'm going to take it into a good morning stance. So that is when the hips are back and the knees are slightly bent, and those arms are going to outstretch in front of us. And from here, I'm going to row the elbows back and bring them forward. Now, we are rowing with no resistance, but what we're doing is we're building endurance in the spine, okay, in the muscles of the back. So building our postural endurance, and we are working those scapula. Now, if you feel like you want to add some resistance to this and you have some light weights at home, pop them in your hands or a band that is connected to something. But in order to teach our bodies where they need to be sitting and how they need to be working, we don't really need too much load. So squeezing those elbows back behind me. Now, at this point where I should be feeling a bit of fatigue is in my mid to lower back, because I am maintaining this hinge position, okay? Make sure you have some abdominal activation to support. Pressure into the heels. Focus on the shoulder blades pulling back towards each other. And let's go 4 more. 4, 3, 2, last one. 1, and standing up. Once you've done your stand up, you probably want to take it into a bit of a ragdoll and just allow that spine a bit of freedom. I like to go side to side because I really feel the work on either side, right? Really my trunk supporters, which are really important for our posture. 3, 2, 1, and gently coming up. We're going to take that back into our kneeling and standing. Now, we're going to start from a standing position this time. You want to really control the kneel. You might even want to give yourself a little bit of balance support. Now, what's important when we're going backwards is that we allow the body to hinge forward a little bit. So I'm going to allow that hinge. Knee finds the floor. This knee joins it. Step up and up. All right, we keep that going. Same leg leads and leads. Steps down, comes up. Steps down, comes up. Last one. Down, up. Fantastic. We're going to go for the other leg now. Other leg leads, takes it down. Now, you should hopefully not be feeling any form of thumping as you're doing this. Okay, you should be nice and light on those knees. You don't want to be hurting them. You don't want to be crashing into the floor. So you are working to control, up and up. Last one, down and down, up and up, and shaking it out. Fantastic. Moving backwards to the back of the mat. We're going to roll down, and if you can, you're going to walk straight out into that plank position, okay? If not, go through a kneeling position. But if you can, you are joining me in this full stance. We're going to breathe here for 10, 9, 8. Make sure you're not locked into those elbows. For 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lowering the knees, taking a breather. We now take this back into our chest lowers. Okay. Moving at whatever pace you need to move. Keep it slow, keep it controlled. If you're feeling like you can push back up without using the knees, then absolutely go for it. But I do want the body to land on the floor before it comes back up. So let's go for that. We are in our full plank position. And we are going down with control. Using the knees to come back up. Anything between 3 to 5 reps on this one, okay? Moving at your own pace. Moving with control. I'm going to do 2 more. Last one. Holding that plank at the top just for that additional 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to bring those knees in and take a little breather. Rolling those shoulders back, hopefully feeling a little bit of heat through the body at this point. We are going to stand it up, so tucking those toes and rolling up. And we're going to find that wide squat position again. Now, every time we come out of the wide squat, we're going to attempt a single leg balance, okay? If this is not for you today, just do your wide squats. It's no problem. You're just going to be doing them a little bit slower. Okay, otherwise, you're going to work with me. So, those hands are in front of us. We're going to go to the depth of our wide squat. We're going to recover and then balance on one leg. Okay, place the foot back down. Wide squat, recover, balance. There's quite a big transference of weight. Wide squat, recover, balance. Okay, so this is about finding out where we are on 2 legs and how we need to move onto 1 leg to test out that stability. So guys, I want you to get at least 5 balances per leg. So that's 10 squats. If you're doing well, if you're flying through it, do a few more. Obviously, the quicker you go from the depth of your squat onto 1 leg, the more balance challenge you're going to feel. Depth of squat onto 1 leg, Woo, more balance challenge. But it's never about speed. It's never about rep quantity. It is always about, are we teaching our bodies how to work efficiently and safely? I'm going to do one more on each side. And to the other side. And relax. Fantastic. Hopefully that extra challenge was not too much to throw your confidence. If it was, don't worry about it. Revisit it another time. But remember that single leg balance is super important, especially as we age. We don't want to be falling over. Okay, final thing for the strength session, we're going to roll down into that plank position again. So you're coming back down to the floor for me. This time keeping the hands a little bit narrower, keeping the feet a little bit narrower, holding it here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower the knees. Set the bum back onto the heels, breathing it here for 3, for 2, for 1. Coming up, we're going to come onto the feet. So tucking those toes, a nice slow roll back up. Very good. We're going to interlace the hands behind the back and just pull them away from you. Okay, so you just want to get a bit of a stretch through the chest and over the shoulders for 4, 3, 2, 1. Relaxing that, getting yourself near something that you can balance on. Let's just step that back foot back, heel is down, and I'm going to press the hips forward, hopefully feeling a stretch down the back of my leg and a little bit in the front of the hip. Okay, just drawing up the lower abdominals to open up the front of the hip for 3, 2, 1. I'm going to change that over. Stepping the foot back, pressing the hips forward. That back heel is planting down into the floor. For 3, 2, 1. Coming back into the center. We're just going to end with some really fun hip circles. Okay, this is just to ensure that nothing around the pelvis and around the lower back starts to grip. Okay, so we just give it some nice fun circles for 3, 2, 1, and we change direction for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and there we go. Feet are underneath the hips. You're going to clasp those hands. You're going to inhale up. You're going to exhale. Let these hands come slightly behind you. Let them fall next to you and relax. Fantastic work, guys. Thank you for joining this 30-minute strength session. Hopefully you have seen a bit of improvement in your work. And if you weren't able to do some of the harder variations, please don't worry about it at all. Remember that your body feels different every single day, and any movement is a good movement, as long as you're moving carefully, consciously, and not in or through pain. Thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.